Guten Tag from Munich. Just a quick update from me today. First of all, just say thanks for all the views and DMs and engagements that I've had so far. It's been really amazing. And secondly, a quick conversation about the Twitter files, which is batches of information that have been released from Twitter HQ under Elon Musk about some of the practices that were going on under the previous regime. There's been a lot of back and forth about it, and it appears that Yoel Roth, the guy that I recommended following way back when Elon took over, has been right in the middle of quite a lot of it. Quite a lot of it gets quite political, and that's not really my interest here. One thing I do just want to quickly talk about is this idea of shadow banning, because I think it's quite interesting and there's some quite interesting nuance. So essentially what was happening is accounts were being shadow banned, which is where they have their reach limited, and they do things like they stop them appearing in search and in trends, so that they can't trend and people can't find them very easily. So it's not being suspended or banned; it just means that your reach is being impinged. Now, it's kind of been presented as this really awful thing that Twitter were doing, and as you know, I'm quite optimistic about the future of Twitter. But in this case, I do kind of think that actually some of the outrage has been somewhat unjustified. So Elon himself was saying when he took over that he was going to be deboosting, demonetizing hate speech, or he made the point that users should get freedom of speech but not freedom of reach. So he himself was an advocate for this kind of policy. So I think it's kind of contradictory to now sort of say that it was a really awful thing that the previous regime were doing. I think the nuance there is in the reasons why they do it, but I think also it's kind of important to realize that any social platform now really is making decisions about who gets amplified, regardless of whether they're engaging in shadow banning or not. So Twitter, once upon a time, was just a chronological feed of everybody you follow and what they've said and what they've retweeted. That's no longer the case and hasn't been for many years. It is now an algorithmic platform. So that means that engagements can cause your tweets to go in front of lots of people that may not already know you or follow you. So what that then means is that these algorithms essentially game our reactions, because it's been studied, and it turns out that we're more likely to engage with stuff in outrage than we are in love or in a positive way. So outrage generally tends to drive more engagement than positivity, and that's just a kind of quirk of the human psyche. And so what it means is that you can generate really, really huge engagement with outrage, and this is something that Donald Trump clearly understood quite quickly and took advantage of. He annoyed a lot of people, got people really angry, and that made them engage. Whether they love him or hate him, they engage with his content. So we're all being incentivized to post outrageous stuff that infuriates people. The problem then starts when you have people deciding essentially what's worthy of that reach and what isn't. And then things like shadow bans come in where they kind of curtail that reach. But they are deciding either way. The platforms are deciding who gets amplified and who doesn't either way by the way that they tune their algorithms. So it's not like this thing is entirely separate. This shadow banning is entirely separate from the way the business works. Actually, it's fundamental. And so I do think that there is some of this nuance is being lost in the conversation. People kind of think that outside of shadow banning, Twitter is just an organism that just works the way it does. No, that's not right. It's been built by humans, and it's been tweaked by humans, and it's been kind of created to drive engagement and to keep people's eyes on the app. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to give my take on. Just the fact that Twitter's not an organism. It's been built by people, and it was ever thus that there were a room full of people in Silicon Valley deciding what we see and what we don't. That's always been the case. I think so. Deboosting, demonetizing, deplatforming, all of this stuff. It's just the same as it always was, which is that, as I say, a group of developers somewhere are deciding what millions of people see. And I think that we all should kind of, understand that. And it's the same on LinkedIn. We all need to understand that these platforms aren't just entirely separate from humanity and just platforms that we can talk to other people on. They have profit incentive. They're built by businesses, and they are tweaked in the way that they operate by other humans. So anyway, that's kind of my thinking for this week. I would love to hear from you if you've got any thoughts. There's obviously loads of stuff on the Twitter files that I haven't covered. A lot of it is quite political, I think, and that's not really the kind of purpose of these videos. But I'll drop some links in the comments. Have a great week. I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye bye.